Hola, clase! For our next project, we are going to be retelling Mexican folk tales. I'm going to be retelling The Endless Tale from the book Horse Hooves and Chicken Feet, selected by Neil Phillip.
Once there was a wealthy man who had a beautiful daughter. She liked to tell stories, and they were always so rich and colorful. The father would not let her get married so that she could tell him stories every day for the rest of his life. He only wished that her stories were longer and asked her to tell him a story that lasted a whole month.
But a story that long would be boring, she said.
Not to me. I love your stories. In fact, I love all stories. I love stories so much that if you found me a man that could tell me a story that is long enough to bore me, I would even let him marry you. For the father knew that he would never be bored from a story, no matter how long it was. Word got out to the young men all around the village. They all knew how beautiful the rich man's daughter was, so they immediately started making up stories. A line started at the rich man's front door and stretched as far as the eye could see. But none of the young men could weave together a tale long enough to bore the old man. The girl recognized a poor boy that she had her eye on for a very long time. She took the boy aside and told him a plan.
When you tell your story to my father, this is what you should say. Psst, 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 psst.
When it was his turn to tell a story, he said, "Once there was a rich, wise farmer that lived near a mountain. A famine was drawing near, so he harvested his corn crop and hid it in a grand cave in the mountain. He sealed the cave so well that nobody could come in to get his corn. But he didn't realize there was an itty-bitty hole that a mouse could crawl through. The hole was just big enough for the mouse to take one kernel of corn with him at a time." The poor boy took a breath and continued. "And then the mouse came back and stole another grain of corn. And then another. And then another. And then another." "Stop! This story will bore me to death," the rich man finally said after the boy had been telling his story for 2 whole days. "But there is so much more to be told, sir. This story lasts at least a month, when told entirely." The rich man answered with a laugh. "You win," he said. "You may marry my daughter." So the poor boy and the rich man's daughter were married, and there was never such a boring story told in the village ever again.
Okay, students, this is only one way to tell your digital story. Be creative and have fun.